जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदनन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जना। यशोदनन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जना। यशोदनन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जना। यशोदानन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जना। यमुनातीरावनचारी। यमुनातीरावनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदनन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जना। यशोदनन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जना। यशोदानन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जना। यशोदानन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जना। यमुनातीरावनचारी। यमुनातीरावनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिवराजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तरशत श्री श्रीमद हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस ऐसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी महाराज श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिवराजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तरशत श्री श्रीमद हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस श्रील भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नामाचार्य श्रील हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। ब्रजभूमि श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय। श्री नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जय। पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र श्री जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। गंगमाई जमुना माई की जय। तुलसी देवी भक्ति देवी की जय। श्री हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय। All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga.
हरे कृष्णा। तो हम लोग हमारे श्री राधा गोविंद मंदिर में नित्यानंद चरण को स्वागत करेंगे 3 बार हरि बोल बोल के। हरि बोल, हरि बोल, हरि बोल। तो हमारा परम सौभाग्य है कि प्रभु का संग हमें प्राप्त हो रहा है। प्रभु जी श्री राधा गोपीनाथ मंदिर से आए हैं और हम लोग अनुरोध करेंगे प्रभु कभी भी माए पुत्र की तरफ आए तो हमको थोड़ा सा संग दे देना। हरे कृष्ण।
मैं सिर्फ कलकत्ता ही आया हूँ इस बार। थैंक यू। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, text 13 to 16, 16 on the board. Kasyachid dvija mukhyasya Bhrashta gaur mama godhane Samprikta vidusha sacha Maya datta dvijataye Kasyachid dvija mukhyasya Bhrashta gaur mama godhane Samprikta vidusha sacha Maya datta dvijataye Kasyachid dvija mukhyasya Bhrashta gaur mama godhane Samprikta vidusha sacha Maya datta dvijataye Matajis. Translation and purport by the disciples of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Once a cow belonging to a certain first-class Brahmana wandered away and entered my herd. Unaware of this, I gave that cow in charity to a different Brahmana. Srila Sridhar Swami explains that the term Dvija Mukhya, first-class Brahmana, here indicates a Brahmana who has stopped accepting charity and would thus refuse to accept even 100,000 cows in exchange for the cow that had been improperly given away. I'll just read text 13 to 16 also. Text 13. Young brown milk-laden cows who were all well-behaved, beautiful and endowed with good qualities, who were all acquired honestly and who had gilded horns, silver-plated hooves, and decorations of fine ornamental clothes and garlands. Such were the cows along with their calves that I gave in charity. 14 and 15. I first honored the Brahmanas who were recipients of my charity by decorating them with fine ornaments. Those most exalted Brahmanas whose families were in need were young and possessed of all excellent character and qualities. They were dedicated to truth, famous for their austerity, vastly learned in the Vedic scriptures, and saintly in their behavior. I gave them cows, land, gold, and houses, along with horses, elephants, and marriageable girls with maidservants as well as sesame, silver, fine beds, clothing, jewels, furniture, and chariots. In addition, I performed Vedic sacrifices and executed various pious welfare activities. And today's verse. Once a cow belonging to a certain first-class Brahmana wandered away and entered my herd. Unaware of this, I gave that cow in charity to a different Brahmana. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चन गौरांगी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji, for the invitation. And I'm extremely grateful to be here because Kolkata happens to be a very, very intimate place of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela. So many people might see it as a metropolitan city, but it has a great spiritual significance. And in and around Kolkata also there are so many pastime places of Lord Nityanand, Prabhu, and Janva Ma and other associates of Lord Chaitanya. And the seed of the ISKCON movement was sown in Kolkata. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur spent so much time here. Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur spent so much time. In fact, one of the great grandfathers of Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, he was the founder of Kolkata city. So it's a very, very historic place. And we can actually feel that spiritual vibe when we come here. So today's verse is from chapter number 64, canto 10. It is entitled as the Deliverance of King Mriga. So Srimad Bhagavatam is simply expanding on the principle that Krishna has spoken in the Gita. In text number 40, Neha Bikkurmanashavasti Pratyavayo na vidyate Swalpamapi asya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. That the path of bhakti, it is from the second chapter, is so special that even if we do little on this path, even if we make little progress, it stays with us forever. It becomes our eternal asset. And whatever little advancement that we have made will protect us from the greatest dangers in life. That little advancement. However, a person may perform many, many pious activities. We are living in a world today where people do not understand the difference between piety or pious credits or spiritual credits. And therefore their piety becomes the biggest impediment in approaching Krishna. Piety means I am doing so much good to society, philanthropic work, just being good and doing good is enough. But knowingly, unknowingly, we end up committing mistakes. We indulge in wrong activities, if not in this lifetime, at least previous lifetimes. If we had no sin, we wouldn't be here. The very fact that we have these material bodies, we are here, that means we have committed some mistakes. And when the reactions to those impious activities start manifesting in our life in the form of mental distress, legal implications, chronic disease, and things like that, so our pious credits will not come to save us. Pious karma does not nullify impious karma, or good deeds do not nullify bad deeds, the reactions to bad deeds. Only spiritual credits will. So sometimes people think, okay, I've done so much wrong in my life, now let me start doing some good work. I'll feed the needy, I'll help the poor, I will do so much samaj seva for society. But that is still piety. And for that you will be rewarded differently. But that will not nullify the reactions for our wrong activities. So we have to clearly understand the difference between what is good, what is bad, and what is beyond both, and what can actually liberate us from the reactions to both. So therefore Krishna talks about 3 types of karma: karma, vikarma, and akarma. Karma means good deeds, which gives good results, result in good birth, facilities, beauty, wealth, fame. And vikarma means the bad deeds, wrong activities, sinful activities. And then there is something called akarma. Akarma means we are acting, but it is not producing any reaction. Like this activity, 1 hour we are doing, or anything happening in this temple is akarma, or activities performed in relation to God. And those are the only activities which will help us nullify the previous reactions and help us get liberated, go beyond both, free us from bondage, and nullify the karmic reactions. And this story specifically, this episode has been put by Shukadeva Goswami in Bhagavatam for a reason, just to teach us this one principle, that your so-called good work, we all have a definition of what is good, what is beneficial for society. Yes, there are so many people doing good to others, but help, when we have a good heart, we want to help others. But help is rendered at 2 levels. One is at the level of the body, and one is at the level of the soul. Body and mind is one, soul is one. But the first thing that Krishna teaches in the Bhagavad Gita is that we are not the body. So trying to help something which we are not, that is not very intelligent. We are not the body. But we have the body, it has to be maintained. So that is also required. We need some activity to maintain the body. We need food, we need some gratification. However, to consider this to be everything is the biggest mistake. So therefore there is seva or service or help at the level of the soul, where someone tries to raise a person's consciousness to God consciousness and connect him with Krishna, connect him with the process. And that is a bigger help, because that's what we are. That is the real self, the soul. The help rendered at the level of the soul is the real help. So many people are trying to speak on self-help, writing books, but without understanding who that self is. Self is not the body, not the mind, it is the soul. So therefore the greatest welfare work that can be rendered in society is raising their consciousness to spiritual consciousness, engaging them in the service of the Lord, because that will not just take care of their immediate situation, but will also make sure that they don't suffer in future. Why do we want to help someone? Because he's in need. But why is he in need? Because of his past karma. So simply by giving some help to the body, which is also required, but that is like not complete help. So we want to give them a process by which the real cause of the suffering can be destroyed. And that is the devotional service. Krishna consciousness. That will make sure their karmic reactions are destroyed. They will no longer have to face any problems in future. And their present miseries can also be taken care of. The devotional service, Krishna consciousness has that power. Now, there is a real story, a real episode, contemporary, very recent one, just to substantiate this point. Now, if we speak from Srimad Bhagavatam, many people who are not so devoted, they just hear these stories as some entertaining episodes. So therefore it is important to give some contemporary, some real life examples. Just like we go around, we preach. So there are preachers in the Sikh religion also. They also go everywhere. They teach. And essentially if you look into their scripture, Guru Granth Sahib, it is just filled with Krishna's names. I am not saying this, but people who are reading it, they are telling. So those who have read it, they know who that Parameshwar, who that Bhagavan we are talking about is. And once one family in Delhi took me to a big Gurudwara, Bangla Sahib in Delhi. And I was wondering, why am I going there? And that too at 10 o'clock. So they wanted to show me a ceremony where they put Guru Granth Sahib Ji to sleep. Just like we put deities to sleep. And they do it with a proper roaring kirtan. Two people or one person will pick up Guru Granth Sahib and there is a roaring kirtan and that sacred book is taken to his bed. So when I was wondering, why am I going to this place? Why is Krishna bringing to this place? That too at 10 o'clock, 10:15. But as soon as I entered the inner sanctum, they were singing. And because I understand Punjabi also a little bit, not little bit, I understand because that's where I started my education. The first 2-3 years were like Punjabi medium, at least 2 years. But what they were singing, anybody could have understood. As soon as I entered, their kirtan was going on good. And what they were singing was Hari Kirtan kare, Hari Kirtan sune, to जीवन के दुख पास न आवे. Which is what the essence of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's philosophy is. And it is not unusual. Oh, they are also singing like that because Guru Nanak Ji, it is recorded that he visited Jagannath Puri. He even participated in the Rath Yatra. He took initiation from Lord Nityananda. And if you go to Jagannath Puri temple, there is a place where he sat with his disciple. So anyways, so these people also go everywhere preaching. But one strange thing they noticed, wherever they were going, they could see one lady sitting right in front. Even if their satsang was happening 500 kilometers away, she was sitting right in front. So they were a little concerned, why is she following us so much? Stalking maybe. And when one satsang was happening in Delhi, so one of them decided to speak to her. Her name was Satnam Kaur. So they asked her, what happened? Wherever we go, we see you sitting right in front. Every satsang you are attending. So they asked her, is your family troubling you? Many people have this idea if somebody starts going for a satsang or to temple or a Gita class, they start thinking maybe something is wrong in his or her life. And they see spiritual life as a spare wheel. And they think that spiritual life only needs to be practiced when you are in distress. But the real reason we practice spirituality, Krishna consciousness, so that we don't fall into distress. We don't experience distress. So she said, no, my family has been very supportive. I belong to a very nice family, affluent family, and I've done a lot of philanthropic work in my life. Distributed blankets, medicines, food, whatnot. There's no end to how much I have done in terms of these good activities. And my family always supported. But something happened in my life, after which I decided I'm not going to miss even a single satsang, single event like this. She said, I was busy doing all this good work in society, all the support, but I had no interest in sitting like this and hearing. I had no interest in spirituality, I had no interest in satsang. My family would tell me, but I would simply make an excuse. But one fine day, they just forced me. They forced me. And like one sadhu who had come to Mumbai, very genuine sadhu, he was telling 4 kinds of people come to a satsang with 4 types of emotions: bhav, kubhav, alas and nakhra. Some people really come, chalo, satsang ho raha hai, and they are very, very eager to hear. Some people come like, kahan phas gaye? And some will come alas. They are sitting, but they're just waiting for the class to end. What's there in the prasad? They will look around, who is wearing what. I make sure I don't wear the same color dress in the next event. Yahan pata nahi utna hai, but people are, one of the biggest anxieties of people is what will I wear in the next event. So there's a girl in Mumbai from Kolkata only. So I was sitting at their home and she was looking anxious. I said, what happened? Gita class chal raha hai. Bole, Prabhuji, there is another event, event after event, and I'm wondering now what will I wear next week. I said, same pehen lo. I said, nahi, but I wore that this week also. I said, humko dekho. Anxiety khatam hai. So this is a big anxiety. Alas. And then some people come nakhra. Oh, I'm coming because you see you are inviting, so I'm coming, but I'll come for 10 minutes and I'll leave. I'll sit for 5 minutes and I'll leave. But all are blessed. With whatever bhava somebody comes to sit and hear about Krishna, chant about him, everyone is blessed by the Lord. Even lava matra sadhu sangha, sarva siddhi hoy. So Krishna is only looking for an excuse to deliver us. So she said, I was doing all this good work, and one day my family just forced me to sit in the satsang. I sat, but I got bored after 20 minutes. And then I got up and left. And one fine day, I died. She says, I died. And I could see myself being dragged on this path, which is like a desert. And some 3 ferocious people, they're trying to scare me. They have bound me up with ropes. And the sun is shining. The land below my feet is so hot, and I am experiencing excruciating pain. And they are threatening me, they are scaring me, I'm trembling. And she couldn't have made it up because she never read scriptures. But this is a description of the soul being taken to Yamaloka after the soul leaves the body. This is exactly from Garuda Purana. So she was seeing all this. She was being dragged. And she said, I asked for water. They said, there's no water here. You just have to move like this. She kept asking for water. And that's why when the soul leaves, you see, we offer tarpan, we offer water, we offer food, because the soul needs it on its journey to the next destination. And she says, then I approached a river. If you read Garuda Purana, there is a river around Yamaloka, Vaitarani. They said, you want water? Go and drink from that river. She said, I went and I see that this is just filled with obnoxious substances. Everything obnoxious. Now, I don't want to name the substances because you might have prasad after this breakfast, but everything obnoxious you could think of. She said, hey, I cannot drink this. Said, drink? Tere ko to tair ke jana hai isko. You have to swim across the river to go to the other side. You'll be made to swim. She said, I was trembling, I was crying, tears, and I didn't know what to do. Suddenly, one young girl, 16 years old, wearing a white sari, she appeared. And she said, you don't worry. She spoke very humbly, quietly. There was so much divinity in her voice. She said, don't worry. I'll take you across. I'll put you on the other side. She, with her powers, suddenly we just floated across the river. I was on the other side. And I said, thank you very much. She said, no, you don't need to thank me. I am the result of 20 minutes of satsang of yours that you did. And that's why I came to save you, help you, protect you. And she, Satnam Kaur says, I was shocked. 20 minutes of satsang? That saved me. What about all the good work that I did all my life? That is piety, that is punya. The result for that you will get on that land itself. Uska alag se hoga hisab. But what goes with the soul and what protects the soul is the time, energy, resources they have spent in the Lord's service. What goes with the soul are the spiritual credits. What will save the soul from reactions to their sinful activities are only the spiritual credits. And then she says, I was taken in front of Yamaraj. And as soon as he saw me, he said, Are, not this Satnam Kaur. Her neighbor Satnam Kaur should have been brought. As soon as he said that, she says, I woke up. I thought it was a dream, but it wasn't, because I was covered with white blanket, whatever, sheet. And then I could see my relatives, friends sitting next to me. They were crying. So I thought for a moment it was a dream, but it wasn't. And suddenly I could hear someone crying in the neighborhood. I realized the other Satnam Kaur had passed away. So that day I decided, if 20 minutes of satsang could bring me back to life, could save me from death, that I am not going to miss even a single one for the rest of my life. And therefore, no matter where you go, I am there to sit and hear and participate. So the same principle here, King Nriga, the only reason Shukdev Goswami has put this episode in Bhagavat is just to showcase the principle that there's no safer path than bhakti, bhakti yoga, devotional service to Krishna. Even little if we do, it will save us from the greatest dangers, fears in life. Now, this King Nriga, the amount of charity, as we read in these verses, the amount of charity and the quality of charity he gave was top class. Like, what charity do people give these days? Very little. And sometimes when people give charity, they also have an expectation, gross and subtle both. Sometimes people do it selflessly also, but in their heart, sometimes they give because it makes them feel nice. They're not doing it as a duty, or there is that subtle feeling, oh, I am helping so many people. They may not say it. Still, that is subtle sense gratification. And that will make sure that they take another birth in this world to keep getting satisfied through these good activities. Because pious activities are under the control of the three modes. And three modes only belong to the material world. So as long as we keep dealing with any activity which is connected to three modes, we have to keep coming back to this world. Another birth, again old age, disease, death, and again all the sufferings. But devotional service is beyond the three modes. And sometimes people give charity, they will push you, they will insist that this is how you should use it. That is also not real charity. That is again that controllership. Charity means you give and then you forget. Sometimes they will insist, my name should be there right in front. When we go to the holy places, sometimes you will stay in Dharamshala and you will see the room itself, the front door will have the name of the person who donated it. As you enter, the switchboard will also have his names written. The tiles will also have the names written. The fan will also have the names written. ये कमरा so and so ने चुन्नू मुन्नू टुन्नू अपने परिवार के साथ इनकी याद में बनवाया. But one principle that people don't understand, that we do these things without letting anyone else know. Then you get 100% benefit. In the Mahabharata there is an episode. Narad Muni, I forgot the names of the king. They are going around a kingdom on a chariot. So this person had 2-3 other brothers. He said, we have done so much pious activity. Now please tell us who will fall down first from the heavens. Heavens are guaranteed because we've done so much good work. But who will fall down first? So Narad Muni named one person. Or I think that king himself was the first person. He said, or this person will fall down first. Why? Because although he did so much good work, but he bragged about it. He talked about it. He spoke to people about it. I did this much. I have done this much. So therefore, the results of his piety will diminish much faster. And he will be the first one to fall down from the heavens. Every time we talk about a good deed that we do, we lose the credits. Could be anything. So, the kind of charity this King Nriga has done is immense. There's no end to it. And later on you will hear in the verses. And this whole episode is happening where Krishna's relatives, Samba and his friends, they are playing in the forest and they are thirsty. They go to a well. And they didn't find water, but they found this huge lizard. And they are compassionate, they want to help the lizard, but they couldn't. They go back to Krishna in Dwaraka, and Krishna comes. He just extends his hand and pulls this lizard out. And because this lizard has been touched by Krishna now, therefore instantly it becomes free from its sinful karma, because of which it had to receive this body. So Krishna's touch is so magical. Like Bilwa Mangal Thakur, he writes one poem, he writes one bhajan, Chor Ashtakam. Now one of the opulences of Krishna is fame. And his fame means any person who has 6 opulences to an unlimited degree at all times can be addressed as God, at all times. So at no point Krishna's fame diminishes. Like if somebody calls us a chor, if somebody introduces us, so now we introduce you to the greatest thief of Kolkata city, sabse bade chor. It's not a glorification. It will diminish our reputation, our fame. But when Krishna does it, this is the definition of God. No matter what he does, his fame will never diminish. It will continue to increase. That is God. That means his position can never be changed. He never falls down from his position, Achyuta. Even if he steals, he's glorified as Makhan Chor. Like I've told this story, at least in Mumbai, there is a devotee. He came to Mumbai to become an actor. Hero banne aaya. Many people come like that. He wanted to be a hero. And he was a big fan of Amitabh Bachchan. And when he came to Mumbai, he had seen Diwar movie, and यहाँ पे लिख के ही लाया था. He had written on his wrist, "मेरा बाप चोर है." Like in the movie, somebody had written on Amitabh Bachchan's wrist. So he was such a big fan, and he wanted to meet him. He wanted to be an actor himself. But he ended up getting in touch with devotee. And you know what happens when someone meets with highest aspiration than when he meets a devotee. He becomes a devotee now. He comes to the temple, starts chanting, but what to do with this? This is like a big black spot now. Something which was a fashion now has become like a kalank, a black spot. Mera baap chor hai. What will the devotees think? So then Krishna gives the intelligence, Dadami buddhi yogam tam. So what he did, before the chor word, he added a makhan. So now it became Mera baap makhan chor hai. Now the same thing which was like a black spot could have been a black spot which would diminish his fame, but as soon as he added that Krishna element, now it became a glory. It became a matter of pride. Mera baap makhan chor hai. So that's what Krishna does. As soon as he enters our life through his name, through his seva, katha, deity form, devotees, scriptures, he brings that beauty into our life, that sweetness, and he takes away all types of inauspiciousness. And whatever he touches becomes pure. So our goal in life has to be, we allow Krishna to touch our lives more and more. The more we allow Krishna to do that, the more we become glorious, the more we become purified. So Bilva Mangal Thakur ji writes this Ashtakam, Chor Ashtakam. 8 verses glorifying Krishna as a chor. But he gives his reasons. If a thief comes to our house, what all can he steal? Maybe the dining table, some money, some jewelry, or maybe he just clean up the whole house. We wake up in the morning and if we are like, we are entering some undone apartment. But Bilva Mangal Thakur says Krishna is the greatest thief because he doesn't just steal gopis' hearts. He doesn't just steal butter. He steals his devotees' lifetimes of sinful karma. Now tell me if any thief can do that. Somebody can come and steal some money, our clothes, whatever. But is there someone who can steal so much, which is so impossible? Stealing our lifetimes of sinful karma, therefore he is the greatest thief. Because this is something nobody else can steal, but he can. So when Krishna touched Nriga, suddenly the karmas were over and he regained his original effulgent spiritual form, celestial form. And all the boys were amazed. Suddenly what happened to the lizard? And then Krishna knew everything, but still he asked this king, tell us who you are. How did you get this body? And now King Nriga is explaining that how he got this body. And he explains how he used to do so much charity. The doors would open in the morning, early morning, they would close late at night. There's no end to the amount of charity he had given. And to the qualified individuals. So when we give charity also, we have to make sure that the charity is given to the right sources, the right individuals who can utilize it properly. And charity was always given, the first recipients were those who were spiritually very powerful. Because it's not that charity de diya and then it's done, we have done a good work. If that is utilized for a wrong purpose, we also have to bear the reaction. Padma Purana, I don't remember the exact verse, it gives the hierarchy. If the charity is given to the needy, you get the same returns in future. If it is given to a Brahmana 10 times, if it is given to a learned Brahmana 100 times, it goes on. And then it is mentioned when the charity is given for Krishna's service, there's no number mentioned. It is mentioned the returns are unlimited. There's no end to that. So this king had given so much charity. He is telling Krishna, if you could count the number of grains on this planet, if you could count the number of drops in the ocean, then you might get some idea about the amount of charity I have done. Itna bada kaam kiya, so much good work. And one mistake, unknowingly, once he was distributing cows in charity. So one of the cows given to a Brahmana, she came back again mixed with the herd in the cow shed. So when the king was distributing cows again in charity, she was again given in charity to the other Brahmana without his knowledge. How could he know? So it was a mistake, happened unknowingly. And due to that, the first Brahmana came back. He said, oh, this cow belongs to me. Give it back to me. The other Brahmana said, no, I have received it in charity. Now I cannot give it back. Now the Brahmanas were very pure-hearted. They were not even concerned about themselves. They were thinking anything which is given in charity cannot be taken back, cannot be enjoyed by the same possessor again. So therefore, they were worried about the king. If I give the cow back, the king would incur a sinful reaction. And the other Brahmana is thinking, if I don't get my cow back, the king would incur a sinful reaction, because something that has been given in charity once cannot be given again to somebody else. People do that with gifts, especially during Diwali. Recycling. And that happens. So, but in charity we can't do that. So both the Brahmanas left dissatisfied. And Brahmanas means that was the age of so much goodness, very pure-hearted, devoted to God. Brahmajanatiti Brahmana. So they went dissatisfied, and as a result of that, this king, when he went to Yamaraj, he said, there is a lot of enjoyment written for you, but there is this mistake also for which you will have to suffer for a long time. So what would you want to do first? He said, first I want to suffer for the reaction. He had to get the body of a lizard for a long time, living in a dark well, for a mistake that happened unknowingly, despite doing so much good work. So our understanding has to be crystal clear. Simply being good, doing good work, out of false ego sometimes, oh, I am just doing good, being good, and that is enough for me, is not going to save us. So yes, we do good work, you do philanthropic work, but if we want to really save ourselves, we have to do something which is in relation to Krishna, because only Krishna is known as Mukunda. Mukunda means the giver of mukti. Nobody else is. So unless he comes into the picture, mukti is impossible. So when we are helping others, we make sure we are not just giving them material help, but we also give them spiritual help. And at our level also we understand simply being good, doing good, taking care of the body or mind of a person, as is happening nowadays. Mostly self-help is only limited to curing the body or taking care of the mind. And that's it. People think that is the best. But the best path is the path of Krishna consciousness. The more we share it, the more we are actually doing some welfare work, because this is not just going to save them from future suffering, even the present suffering will be taken care of. It helps them rise above. Now, before I end, one question could be, okay, he did so much good work. He had to get the body of a lizard, but ultimately Krishna only came and saved him, na? So at least he got the darshan of Krishna. So that is not the main reason. The main reason why Krishna came personally to save him, and which is the point I mentioned in the beginning, that if you do so much good work, one mistake, even unknowingly, first of all, success is not guaranteed. You still remain stuck in the material world. And even if there is one mistake unknowingly, the result could just be reversed, opposite, just like it happened in the case of Mriga. But the path of Bhakti Yoga is such, even unknowingly, if we do some devotional service, even very little, that will save us from the greatest dangers. So it is explained that this King Nriga, because he had a charitable disposition, and therefore it was his habit, it was his nature to give whoever came asking for something. So once one Vaishnava had come to his court. So one devotee mentions he needed a Bhagavat, a copy of Bhagavat, and one devotee mentions, I've heard it, that he needed some money to build a temple, some donation to build a Vishnu temple. And since it was the king's nature, so whatever that Vaishnava asked, he's a devotee of the Lord. So it was the king's nature, de diya. Without realizing he's a Vaishnava, it was his just nature. Whoever came, he would give. He was not a devotee per se. So he gave. And that one little spiritual credit that he acquired from that little seva became his saving grace. Because of that, Krishna later on personally came to save him. And so much piety, good work that he did only led him to this stage, more bondage. But little act performed unknowingly to serve a devotee who is connected to Krishna saved him. And so much so that he got the darshan of Krishna. Personally, Krishna came to save him. So we have to utilize our intelligence, because scriptures will never impose anything on us, nor will the sadhus do so. They will give us options. This is what you will get if you do this, this is what you will get if you do this. The whole Gita also ends like this. Krishna tells Arjuna, now I've taught you everything, yathechasi tatha kuru, now do as you like. So as intelligent human beings, we try to invest more in something that will give us long-term benefits, that will also help us realize the goal of human life. And that is only our spiritual credits. The more we acquire, the more our future is in safe hands. Hare Krishna. It's 9:31. I'll stop here. Thank you very much. Do we take questions also? Do we have time or we end? So we end. No, I'm fine. We can end actually. Thank you. Thank you. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Radha Govind Dev, Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Thank you very much, Prabhuji, and thank you all the devotees. Hare Krishna.